to Check the Gate and AFI Deep Dive. I'm Bert, and as always, I'm joined with Brandon.
Hello.
And Michael. AFK for a second.
Is Michael. Oh, okay, yeah. I wrote on my wrist. I'm Michael.
And today we are doing a 2000 film called Memento, which is about Leonard Shelby, an insurance investigator, suffers from an anterograde amnesia and uses notes and tattoos to hunt for the man he thinks killed his wife, which is the last thing he can remember.
That's the trip, yeah.
Yeah, this was my choice in our grab bag film. This is one of my top 5 favorite films of all time. I think mainly because it's one of my favorite films to show people who have never seen it.
Never seen it.
You've never seen it?
Never seen it.
Nope.
I thought you had.
Nope.
Brandon?
Roll back the clip.
I knew Michael hadn't, and I was excited for him to watch it because it's a mindfuck of a film.
Yeah, I had to restart it a couple times because I was like,
so did
what
I.
the hell?
I had to watch so many things like a couple times where I just like pause and be like, wait, what just happened?
But
yeah.
And then I just go back, watch it again. Happened like 5 or 6 times.
The payoff when you finally understand what this movie is doing, it's like such a great experience, especially with how this movie is. It's played both forwards and backwards, quite literally. Sometimes very literally played backwards.
Yeah.
Where the stuff that happens in black and white is played chronologically forward, while the scenes that are in color are played not necessarily in reverse order, but scenes are reversed. So where a scene ends is where the following scene, backwards. Where the scene starts is where the next scene will end, and it pieces together that way. And it's such a great idea with a thriller mystery, especially since Guy Pearce's Leonard has short-term memory loss, so we are truly learning new information as if we had the same issues. You know, we're trying to connect the dots.
Yeah.
We're trying.
His window shot out. How did that happen? He's got scratches on his face. Natalie's got scratches on her face. And then we slowly we see a Polaroid that has stuff scratched out of it. What is it that gets scratched out? We don't really know until, and then the ending of the movie is really the middle of the actual story. And that great scene where it blends from black and white and transitions slowly into color. It's so...
that was so good.
Yeah. So did you both like it overall?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't speak for Michael, but I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I did like it. It just... Good Lord. I watched halfway through and I was like, wait, is this thing, I didn't watch it on any sort of discs to let it skip, but I was like, is this thing skipping? Like, what the hell?
Yeah. As soon as I figured out kind of like what was happening, it was a lot more enjoyable. But the first like 30 minutes, I was like so confused. I felt like I was going, having amnesia or going in and out of the storyline. I was like, I have no idea what's happening.
And
it's very interesting where it takes your brain though, because you're like, you go to visit where he's like, oh, that's not your room, and he's like, well, you sure? Because my name's right here, blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, but actually, and you're like, what's real, what's not? I have no idea.
Yeah, and then we find out later, but technically first, that he was already getting rented out 2 rooms because the clerk was trying to take advantage of him. This is a whole movie of, he says consistently how memories aren't reliable. This guy, Sammy Jenkins, where he's pretty much basing his entire, life going forward off of, is saying how sloppy he is. He goes based on facts. So much so that he'll tattoo those facts on his body. And then as the movie progresses, even though it technically chronologically happens first, we're seeing that he's getting fed all sorts of information, especially from the 2 people, the Teddy and the Natalie characters, where they're both have their own reasons of manipulating him in their own way. And so the facts that he thinks he's going off of, and then to a point, he's actually railroading himself. We find out at the very end. or the middle of the story, I guess, we find out that he actually set himself up for failure.
Yeah.
And it's you know, Christopher Nolan, especially now, he loves those movies with the time. And this is kind of a lot of what the movie Dunkirk is like. Obviously, Dunkirk's not played backwards. But then you have a movie like Tenet, which is literally a movie told backwards. And then obviously with your interstellars and your time dilation, stuff like that, like the man loves time. And he likes messing with the fabric of how you think you need to be.
He likes messing with time.
Yeah. But he...
Yeah, I didn't know anything. I mean, I knew of the movie, but honestly, I didn't know that the Nolan brothers were even a part of this movie. So as soon as that like first scene happened, I was like, got on my phone. I was like, is this a Nolan movie?
Oh, yeah.
Like the shell casings rolling backwards and everything. I'm like, this has to be. So I was pleasantly surprised.
The movie's actually based on a short story that Jonathan Nolan had wrote titled Memento Mori, which is Latin for Remember You Must Die. So a little...
Very Maury.
Yes, put that in your repertoire. Memento Mori. And they say Latin's a dead language. That they'd pretty much written the script on a road trip moving them from Georgetown to LA when they first moved out here. This isn't his first film. His first film is called Following, which is a film it's the only one of his I've never seen. It's barely a movie. It's like 72 minutes. But this was the first one where, like with most people, my first introduction to Nolan was his, at the time, first two Batman films and The Prestige. I watched this movie pretty much shortly after I discovered Pulp Fiction, and then would just go to Hastings and buy a shit ton of movies. And one of them was,
Pouring out for my homies.
one of those was, I like Nolan. I like those three movies. What other movies has he done? And Hastings had Memento and it had Insomnia. So I bought those two movies outright. And then watching this film for the first time, it was like I'd watched The Prestige. I had to immediately put it back in and watch it again.
Yeah. Because
you really do start picking up on a lot of the things he's saying, especially with the whole Sammy Jenkins of it all, whether or not Sammy Jenkins' story is even accurate, which come to find out it's not. It's him suppressing his own memories about what happened with him.
That's the other beautiful layer of it too, where it's just like, the thing is you're kind of seeing / remembering it all. Not really remembering, but you know what I mean? Like through his lens, but you don't even know if his lens is skewed or not, but you do know, but it's just
And he even says in the movie to Teddy, memories aren't reliable. But because it's tattooed on him, he goes out, that's the gospel. I'm going to be looking for this license plate number for the rest of my life.
I like how they lead you down this path, the whole story, but they have like these little branch off trails that you could go down, like as far as the story goes, and you kind of catch yourself. You're like, well, did that really happen? Like, is that him telling a story of his own personal experience, but he just can't remember that he's in it? Like,
or was it a story that someone else told him and he's
totally.
We literally see a flash. There's a split. I don't know if you caught it, but towards the end, when he's talking about how after he told Sammy Jenkins' wife, like I said at the top, he's an insurance investigator. He's looking into this case for possible fraud of a man who has short-term memory loss. They deny the claim because he believes that whether or not he's faking or not, even if it is a real thing, karma's a motherfucker. But so her taking his word that he should be able to create new memories, decides to have her husband kill her by overdosing her on diabetes medicine, hoping that he will either remember he just gave it to her, or if he is possibly faking, maybe realizing that he's killing his wife. That never happens. And there's a scene where you see Sammy Jenkins in a med bay, and he's looking around, and then a man passes in front of him, and for a split second, it's Leonard sitting in the chair, not Sammy Jenkins, and it cuts away.
Yeah.
And that's that first clue that it's actually him that's going through all this. But
Right.
I will say, before we start diving into this, as much as I love this movie is a motherfucker to take notes for. Because you are.
Dude, I was thinking about that. I was like, poor Bert.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you were at an advantage that you've seen it a couple times.
Yeah.
There's no way I could take notes watching it the first time. I'm like, I can barely keep up myself.
So everybody out
The
there,
drool coming out of my mouth.
everybody out there in podcast land, I condensed a few things. I grouped a couple black and white scenes together, mainly because I thought that they were happening, and then I wrote them down. But because sometimes you only cut to a black and white scene for 2 sentences, and then all of a sudden he's just out in an industrial park, and there's a fire burning in front of him, that kind of thing. And then, so bear with me. I love this movie, so I'm gonna hype it up as much as I can. But let's go ahead and dive into this bad boy. Like I said, this is a 2000 film. The top 3 films of 2000 are number 3, Castaway, number 2, Gladiator, and number 1, Mission Impossible 2. A ticket cost in 2000 is $5.39, which is equivalent to $9.81 our money. The budget for the film was $9 million, which is equivalent to $16.3 million. And the box office was $40.1 million, which is equivalent to $72.9 million. It was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, but it won 0. It lost film editing and original screenplay. Probably the 2 awards I would think it would be nominated for, too. This movie lives and dies on its editing. Yeah. Shall we?
We shall.
Well, let's do it.
How great is that first shot where you have the dead body on the ground and he's got the Polaroid shaking, and it slowly, very slowly is starting to disappear, vanish. You're realizing that it's undeveloping, if you were, and then you see it's truly played in reverse. Sticks the Polaroid in, camera flashes, holds his hand out, very Tenet style. Gun flies into his hand, bullet shell casing flies back in, and he shoots Joey Pants in the head. Then that's our first black and white scenes where he's pretty much in this hotel room. The black and white stuff is essentially all exposition that we're going to need going forward as far as the film is concerned. It's predominantly him on the phone, talking to an unknown person, pretty much discussing his disability. Anytime he sees somebody else, hey, my name is Leonard, I don't know if I've told you or met you, but I have this disability. And then I get, Sammy Jenkins, man, it's better every time you tell it. Our next color shot is with Leonard is being picked up from his hotel room, and he's taken to that abandoned shack. We see that there's a truck there. There's some bullets in the front seat. Pierce has a Polaroid that says, Teddy is the one, we need to kill him. Which is where we end up meeting our next scene, where he does, in fact, kill him. Like I said, we discuss a lot of the Sammy Jenkins character. That's how he introduces that he was an insurance investigator. Looking into whether or not this is a real case, man had an accident, can no longer create new memories. Anything he learned prior to the accident is 100% in his brain. Even a difficult task as in preparing diabetes medicine for his wife, whatever it is. But when he sits in front of a TV, he has no idea what he's watching, but he loves commercials. The one person who loves commercials. Good stuff. We get a lot of that. And then we start getting back and forth. This is where it starts getting a little tricky. He goes to meet a woman named Natalie. She has a Polaroid that says that she has lost somebody and she will help you out of pity. We also notice that there's something scratched off on her Polaroid. Natalie has a cut lip and a black eye, and she says that she ran the plate that he gave her, gives her a manila envelope. This has all the information on your John G. asks why he would want to kill somebody if he'll never remember, and he insists that, well, my wife deserves vengeance, which we find out later that he has that backwards tattoo on his chest that says, John G. raped and murdered my wife.
The first time I noticed it, I was like, oh, it's just freaking symbols on there. And then he was like, when he was talking on the phone in the mirror, I was like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, we get that scene where she sees all his tattoos for the first time. She's like, oh, I didn't even know you were the type. But then she's like, it's backwards, I can't read it. And I was like, sure you can. It's not.
Or when he's putting on his shirt, and he's like looking at himself in what appears to be a mirror, the actual camera shot. And then he does this little tilt with his head, like, what is that? Like he just forgot that he had them.
Guy Pearce, I think, is an incredibly underrated actor. He's not as big as he probably should be, but this movie I should say that they originally wanted like a Brad Pitt or a Thomas Jane for this movie, and like Brad Pearce. Guy Pearce kind of has that Brad Pitt look to him.
Yeah.
So that's who I thought it was first in like some of the snaps. I was like, I didn't know he was in that. And then I'm like, that's not him.
No.
Total Fight Club vibe.
Well, yeah, I mean, and he's like shredded.
Yeah.
Looking like a brick shit house.
Lean and mean.
But he's got his own like hype tattoos on him too. Find him. Might as well just say you can do it. But then he's got like these, but it's always like a different design every tattoo. Like his "Don't answer the phone" is like in a vortex tornado of "Never answer the phone." It's just like, man, I like.
At least it's a creative place.
He's on a mission, but at least he's having fun with the fonts.
True.
It's the only thing he gets to, like, his own little personal touch.
Well, we get a little flashback of his wife. He snaps to. Now he's in a bathroom. Doesn't know how he got there. There's a lot of those scenes, especially like later on where he's like holding a bottle of liquor and he's like, I don't feel drunk. No, I'm just in my hotel room. And then he finds out that there's a guy like
in the closet.
Luckily, the people at the bar were nice enough to give him his hotel key and the manila envelope with everything to go to the secluded shack that they end up going to later. While getting lunch with Teddy, who is Joey Pantolano, Leonard tells us that, like I said before, that memories aren't reliable. And that's also when we find out that the hotel clerk is taking total advantage of him, rents him out 2 rooms. There's that fun back and forth of them talking. He's like, well, at least you're being honest about ripping me off. And he's like,
ripping me off.
It's not like you're going to remember anyway, right? And he goes, okay, you don't got to be that honest.
Clever.
We see Leonard wake up in bed with Natalie. And that's where they arrange a meeting. And she says that she's going to help him because he helped her. What did he help her with? We don't know. That's, hard cut to Leonard showing up at Natalie's house. Shows her a picture of a bloodied individual. The Polaroid says Dodd. He wants to know, what did you have me do? And she said that you were helping him. My boyfriend my boyfriend Jimmy, who was murdered by a man named Teddy, owes this guy Dodd a lot of money, and you helped get rid of him for me. And he goes, I didn't kill him. And she's like, well, how do you know? He's like, well, good point. I don't really know. But cut to Leonard waking up in a hotel room with Teddy trying to come in the room. But once inside, they discovered, they're sitting there and you hear the, and Joey Pants thinks, he's like, amorous neighbors, nice. Only to find out that that's when we see the man is tied up, duct tape over his mouth, bloodied up. He takes the duct tape off. Who did this to you? And he goes, you did.
Yeah.
The side characters in this that truly have no idea what's actually going on, it's a real hoot. Just
I thought the whole cast, like, as a whole, did such a great job of playing the part or playing the story.
Well, Joey Pants is like a solid go-to character actor.
Oh yeah,
he's gonna go in, and then Carrie-Anne Moss is fresh off that first Matrix film. So hot right now, just really blowing up. Because you really only have the 3 characters in
Right.
this movie.
But everybody else, like just even the throwaway characters, like what's his name? The guy who was ripping him off.
This is like Bert or Bart.
Bones.
Yeah, but from Sons of Anarchy. Yeah.
Even him, I mean, the whole cast did such a good job of playing up Guy Pearce's part.
Yeah. They kind of unceremoniously get rid of him. Like, they're like, oh, we'll just clean him up, put a gun to his back, and then they put him in a truck, drive him out to the middle of nowhere, and then give him the truck, and he drives away. Who knows if this guy comes back? We have no idea. Just like Leonard, out of sight, out of mind, quite literally. He lets us know that he has to stay super focused on things, or else he'll forget. That's why he usually has to write things down, take photos. Guy Pearce comes to in that hotel room, just like I was saying. He has that liquor bottle in his hand. He's like, I don't feel drunk. The man that we know is Dodd suddenly breaks into the hotel room. They get in a fight, ambush him. They fight until he knocks him out again, puts duct tape over his mouth, throws him in the closet, calls Teddy. Hey, Teddy, I need you. Come to this hotel. And then, so it's funny in the scene prior when Teddy shows up and he's like, what are you doing here? He's like, you called me, Leonard. What? Come on, Lenny.
Keep up.
I do like the next scene where all of a sudden he's just like taking off running out in the middle of nowhere, and he goes, why am I running?
Why am I running?
I'm clearly chasing this man. So he starts chasing him, and the guy, nope, he's chasing me.
Nope, I had that wrong. He's chasing me.
Whoops.
He gets in his super
good.
sick green slick Jaguar and drives to the hotel room and waits for Dodd, because he finds out that's where, okay, I know he's staying at this hotel, so I'll wait, and we find out, okay, it's his hotel room, not Leonard's hotel room. So he goes in there to hide, and he goes, I need a weapon. Let me grab a liquor bottle. Perfect. He goes in the bathroom and waits. I don't feel drunk.
They got you again.
That's when we start seeing a lot of the Sammy Jenkins stuff. He's on the phone. We see that he's like breaking pens, and he's doing his own tattoo work. Just like breaking pens in half and like getting needles nice and hot and jabbing them into his leg. The whole time, again, on the phone, his tattoo's getting itchy. He takes it off. It says, stay off, never answer the phone. Oh, shit. Takes the...
Oh, damn it.
Broke my own rule.
Fool me once. I'll probably forget.
Yeah.
Hangs up the phone, picks it up, calls the hotel. Hold all my calls. That's when we get that note sliding into the door. You need to take my calls. Too bad my tattoo says no, I can't. Sorry. We get a lot of that him talking about the Sammy Jenkins character too. That's when we get a lot of the backstory of his wife having him give that while we're cutting to Guy Pearce pinching his wife's leg. We're getting that cut in.
Yeah, that was the best part. Like those little cut scenes where he did that, and you're like, wait, I saw that, but and then he's trying to remember too. Did I pinch her? Did I jab her? Crazy. That was cool.
We cut to back in color. Teddy is telling Leonard not to trust Natalie because of your suit and your car. She does not trust you. He tells him that her and her boyfriend are running some sort of operation out of their bar, and he has Leonard write down on Natalie's Polaroid, she's not trustworthy. Then he pulls out his Teddy Polaroid and compares notes, and Teddy's Polaroid says, do not trust Teddy. So he goes, oh, okay, let me just go ahead and cross out. And that's how we find out that was what was crossed out. The next two scenes are probably my favorite. They're not... It really shows how Leonard is absolutely just being used by both these people, where we cut to him frantically looking for a pen. Oh my God, find a pen, focus, find a pen, find a pen, find a pen.
Yeah.
We hear a car door slam, and Natalie comes in. Her nose is bloodied, her face is bruised. She comes in saying, well, I did what you said, and he kicked my ass. Who did? Who do you think? Dodd. I went to him like you said. Jimmy owes him money. I told him he needed to give me a few days, and he kicked my ass and said he wants the money by Tuesday. To which Leonard says, tell me where he's staying, what he looks like. I will go to his hotel room and I will take care of him. Oh, why does my fist hurt? Cut to him and Natalie enters the house and she's yelling at him. She goes in there, she starts taking all the pens, puts them in her purse, and says that Dodd is looking for her and her boyfriend, and he's going to kill us if he doesn't get this $20,000 that's missing. Leonard going, who's Jimmy? Who's, like the lovable dum-dum that he is at the beginning of every scene. And he has to kind of get quickly brought up to speed before he forgets. She tells him the only way we can get rid of him is by killing him. He says, I don't want to kill an innocent person. I'm going to kill the man who murdered my wife, and that's it. I'm not going to kill anybody else. That's when she starts insulting him for his disability, talking shit about his dead wife, making him so mad that he punches her in the face and bruises her face, bloodies her lip. And then she does that maniacal smile where she just goes, see you in a few. And then goes outside, closes the door, waits in the car while he is, once again, frantically looking for a pen. Find a pen, gotta remember, need to write this down. Find a pen, find a pen, find a pen. She slams the door, he looks up. Completely forgot. It's gone. It's such a terrible, heartbreaking scene, but it's just, at the same time, it's like the thesis statement of this entire movie. Once again, everything you think you're doing stuff for the right reasons, actually you're just being manipulated. Leonard and Natalie arrive at the house, and he tells her about the accident with his wife. He mentions that a burglar broke in, shot his wife, killed her. She's wrapped up in that shower curtain. He went in, fought the guy with the gun, ended up shooting the assailant, but there was another person in the house, snuck up behind him, hit him over the head with the sap, threw him through a mirror, and that's what caused the accident. And then he also mentions that the cops never believed that there was a second shooter. They didn't believe there was a second assailant. He left the weapon and the sap there. It looked like there was a struggle. There was obviously a fight. Guy killed his wife. He fought back, killed the assailant, but not without getting injured, and the second guy got away free. He even mentions that in his police reports, there's a lot of stuff that's been redacted. He's got pages missing. They were never even trying to look for the second assailant. The police just didn't believe him, so they went on their way. But now he's out looking for this other person because he remembers it happened. Cut to Natalie putting a beer in front of Leonard, saying, "Oh, it's on the house. No worries." While you get the bar patrons in the background laughing as he takes a drink. That was so disgusting, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so gross.
He tells her that...
And I like how she said, she's like, let me get you a new one. This one's dusty.
Yeah. Of all things to...
Dusty?
Yeah, he goes in for that second sip, and then she's like, maybe not. Maybe he'll be out. He's like, oh, I haven't told you about my condition, have I? And she goes, you mentioned something. And she's like, what's the last thing you remember? And he was like, my wife. And she's like, oh, that's nice. And he goes, dead. She's like, oh, that's nice.
Yes. Okay.
That's nice.
Cut to Leonard showing up at the bar, orders a beer, and Natalie is absolutely pissed off that he would come into this bar dressed the way he is, driving the car he is. Obviously, he's completely clueless, has no idea. He's like, I was just told I needed to come here and meet Natalie. Well, that's me. What are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I found this note that says, come find me. And she's like, you found that in your pocket? Kind of thing. And he's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. So that's when she pulls out the cup, fills it up with beer, and has a bunch of patrons hawk massive loogies in it. goes up to him, has him hawk a loogie, and then she does the worst one. There's like a lot of snot in that bad boy too.
Oh, dude, that thing was thick. It was.
Stirs it up, has him go sit, and that's when we cut to her putting the beer down in front of him. We get a black and white scene, one of our very few left. Leonard is freaking out on the phone because he just got that note saying he needs to take that call from the police officer. I'm a cop, you need to take my calls. That's when we get the last little information on Sammy Jenkins, and that's also when we get that cutscene of Sammy at the med ward, and at like split second you see him in that chair. Leonard pulls up into a tattoo parlor to get a license plate of the number tattooed on him. Teddy is there. Teddy's just always around, by the way. I don't know if he's just like patrolling behind him at all times, but he always seems to know exactly where he is at all times.
Given that this was the first time I was watching it, I was like, man, there's something shady about this guy. He's just always right there. He's always expecting his call.
Yeah.
Teddy tells him that they got to get out of town. You got to get rid of those clothes. We got to get out of here. So he hands him a new pair of clothes. He's like, okay, Teddy, I have a picture of you, so therefore I know you. Let me go get change. Oh, let me just flip it. Oh, it says don't trust Teddy. Ha! Joke's on you, Teddy. I'm scopping. So he escapes, and that's where he finds the little coaster that says meet Natalie at Ferdy's bar. So he drives there, pulls in. Natalie sticks her head and she goes, hey, Jimmy, how's it going? Oh, you're not Jimmy. And then she angrily goes back into the bar. Final black and white scene, guys. Home stretch. The officer on the phone tells him it's time to meet. We've located John G. Let's go take care of business. He goes, better time than, no better time than now. Lock and load, pulls the gun out. He's clearly wearing a different outfit. He's got like that plaid outfit going on. He takes his camera. I'll meet you in the lobby. Goes to the lobby. We find out it's Teddy. He's been talking to Teddy this whole time. Lenny! Please don't call me Lenny. They go outside. That's when he snaps a photo of him. Your name is what? Officer John Gamble? And he goes, don't write that. I'm undercover. Just write Teddy. Here's the number. You can contact me at any time. So John G is going to meet you at this old secluded shack. He goes, you're not coming with me? He's like, I got the shit I got to do. Sounds good. Takes his pickup truck, not his Jag, his pickup truck, drives out to the old secluded shack, gets out, takes a look around, and then we hear a car pull up. It's a nice Jag, pulls up. We see a man in a very familiar suit step out. He's looking for Teddy. He's calling for Teddy. And then Leonard sneaks up and hits him in the back of the head with a tire iron, pulls a gun out, tells me he wants him to strip. He's like, why? He's like, because I don't want to get blood on your clothes. Jimmy realizes he's fucked. Pleads for his life. To which Leonard's like, just like you made my wife, did my wife have to plead for her life kind of thing. So he gets down, strangles the life out of him. Thinks he's completely dead. He gets up. I did it. Let me take a photo. Nice little photo. Here's another car pull up. As he turns to see who it is, he hears Jimmy on the ground breathe his last word, Sammy. We get the narration. How does he know about Sammy? How does he know about... Clearly, I knew this person. Like, he couldn't have killed my wife because he knew who Sammy was. That's when we see that it's Teddy pulling up. He's like, who is this? What's going on? He looks at the photo in his hand because he's already forgotten. He sees there's a picture of a dead person. He goes, oh my God, what have I done? Hey, help, there's a man in here. He needs help. Teddy comes rushing in. He's going to the Jag. He's looking for the money. The $20,000 that we see is in the trunk. We find out it's later in the trunk. Hey, what's going on? Oh, do I know you? No, police officer. Don't worry about me. Even though we've already seen him look at the photo and see it's Teddy. And he goes, well, this guy's fucking dead, man. Guy Pearce hits him in the back of the head. He goes, God damn it, Leonard. He goes, oh, suddenly you do know who I am. And that's when we get like the main diarrhea of the mouth exposition monologue that's filling in all of our gaps. This man knew Sammy. How did he know who Sammy was? And he goes, because you fucking tell every single person you meet, Sammy Jenkins this. You remember Sammy Jenkins? Do you know Sammy Jenkins? You know Sammy Jenkins? Same story, gets better every time you tell it. And he goes, well, clearly it means that he didn't kill my wife. And he goes, the problem is that you're never going to remember if you killed the man who killed your wife. And he goes, I will remember. I'll just know. And he goes, well, you didn't a year ago when you actually killed the man. Pulls out a photo of Guy Pearce with a whole lot less tattoos. Just the main John G. raped and murdered my wife. Looking happy. Pointing at the spot that he wanted the tattoo, you got him, on his... But he never... That's the one tattoo he never got. Was the one that says, you got him.
Damn it.
Shows him, I don't believe you. I would know. That's when we find out that Teddy is pretty much a corrupt cop that was working on the force, actually believed him, possibly, I would assume took pity on him at the beginning, but then realized that since he didn't remember, he wanted to help him that first time. I was getting the impression he truly did want to help him that first time.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
But once it became obvious that he wasn't going to remember, he had him start taking out any other John G, James G, Jimmy G, John Jacob Jingleheimer G. Technically bad guys, but they're also stealing money from them. So, like, somewhere between vigilante and just, like, murdering people. They seem to all be bad guys that they're doing this to, but still. He even tells him, he goes, John G is the most generic name in the entire world. For crying out loud, Leonard, I'm John Gamble. I'm a John G for crying out loud. Worst thing he probably ever could have said.
Yeah.
I was like, bingo. That's what I thought.
To which he takes his keys, throws them out in the middle of nowhere, decides he's going to take
that was
off.
Great.
This Jag is mine now. He throws the gun in the trunk with all the money. We never see the money, ever. It never comes up, ever. It's kind
Until
of
that point when he opens the trunk and
it's kind of
tosses
that
gun in, yeah.
MacGuffin-y that's kind of driving the Natalie storyline because Jimmy's gone and Dodd.
It's like what's in the
money back.
briefcase.
Yes, yeah. Says it's my car now because I took a picture of it. That's, possession is 9/10 of the law. And then we get that monologue of Teddy searching for his keys. Come on, it's beer o'clock. Help me find my keys. And the monologue just being like, essentially, fuck you. You don't think I'll remember. I'll remember. In fact, you're going to be my new John G. You're my new puzzle. Teddy had told him previously that Leonard was the one who took the pages out and redacted, so it would be a puzzle that he could never solve. Joke's on you. I'm going to solve this puzzle. I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to remember, and I'm going to be at peace. He drives away, cuts right in front of the tattoo parlor where we saw him before, and he goes, where was I? Movie done.
Great.
I love it so much.
Yeah, it's good.
You know who also loved it? Neuroscientists. They find this
Yeah.
film's depiction of memory loss disorders to be not only accurate, but very realistic. How people would react.
It makes it like it just invokes this part of like kind of like mind stress as you're watching. I'm just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It feels like you actually have some sort of something without being super severe. But yeah, it's good.
I think it is a movie that is good, period. But the more times you watch it, I'm not saying you need to watch it, go home and watch it 8 times in a row. But the next time you watch it, that's, especially when you already know how everything's going, you start picking up on a lot of the other little nuggets that are getting dropped.
Yeah.
We didn't even really talk about how he's paying women to pretend to be his wife in the bathroom because he's just trying to remember something, to the point where he's actually he just burns his wife's belongings finally because he keeps saying that he keeps them so he can keep remembering her. So honestly, by burning them, he's ceremoniously forgetting his own wife. And then obviously I didn't bring it up because we'd already mentioned it before, but Teddy told him that actually in reality Sammy Jenkins was a criminal. He was a fraud.
Yeah.
And that it was actually Leonard's suppressed memories that was happening. That was him killing his wife. So, yep, they found it quite accurate. But what I was going to say,
I feel like it'd be pretty accurate because, like, it was hard to watch at times just because you could tell how people would be able to take advantage of him, and you felt sorry for the guy having to like Groundhog Day it every 15 minutes,
But there were points where he's just so cocky about how he's so efficient. I'm not saying
like
that
how he's overcome his inability to remember, but at the end of the day, he's just going to forget.
I also had read that in 2002, they did a limited edition DVD re-release of this film where you could watch the whole movie chronologically, which I don't know if that would be as exciting to watch, but you could only watch it chronologically if you solved an interactive puzzle consisting of several memory-based questions.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
So,
dang.
So
that is cool.
Does your brain get zapped?
Do they shock you, these memory?
I would hope so. Hey, saw this, you quack.
That was so funny.
Thomas Lennon's the doctor. Just like, I can't say it enough. This was, and maybe it's I hold this movie high in my esteem because when I really started getting in to just movies in general, the art of film this was one of the first movies that was like right after that Pulp Fiction where, and I mean, to be fair, I had never seen anything like it.
Yeah, totally.
Even though Pulp Fiction is played out of order, it's like a whole nother wrinkle to the equation where you are actually playing things from both sides and you're meeting in the middle rather than just chopping things up and putting them in a weird order. But I love it. I wish it was a thriller. It's not.
What?
We may have to retire the Is It a Thriller? Go.
Yeah, because I don't even know what's a thriller anymore.
This
you ask
isn't
the
a
question
thriller?
And I'm just like, we don't know.
Not according to the AFI.
The first sentence on Wikipedia says neo-noir psychological thriller film.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Peacock has it registered just solely as thriller. So
I didn't pick up on that.
I had it on DVD, but where we just moved, and I didn't want to try to figure out somebody else's DVD. Where's the remote kind of thing? So Michael was like, it's streaming on this service. So I was like, cool. I'll just do that.
I went to go look up where I could rent it, and I was like, oh, Peacock. I have Peacock.
Can't gush about this movie enough. I do weirdly have like this weird love-hate relationship with Christopher Nolan now, but I think it's more the cult of Nolan than him himself. We'll get really into... So in the 4 years from when I first saw this film in probably 2010 to 2014, my love for Nolan went from I like him to I'm turning against him. And we'll talk about it when we get to Interstellar. I have a really weird love-hate relationship with that film in general.
Because I love it.
I'm prepared to eat crow. I've since rewatched it, and I told my wife, I was like, man, I was really up my own ass about a lot of stuff back then.
What a way to put it.
We all grow up and mature at some
exactly.
point. We
so
understand.
we'll get into it when we talk about that. That's like a month from now's problem. So I don't really...
I look forward to it.
Yeah. I come clean about my shit when I need to. So
fair.
You do honor that. Yeah.
Admirable.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything we want to talk about, discuss more about Memento before we talk about what we're doing next time?
I think
great
good.
movie. Great movie. Two thumbs up from me.
We are jumping one more year into the future to 2001 was a Brandon's pick. Denzel Washington classic Training Day. Michael, have you yet to see Training Day?
Hold on, I don't think so.
When Brandon chose the movie, you had said you'd never seen it, and Brandon, myself, and Jacob all went.
I am looking at the cover just to jog my memory, and I've probably seen like glimpses, kind of clips of it from people watching.
There's probably a very specific scene you've probably seen.
Yeah,
yeah, but we're just gonna go for the sake of this. We're just gonna go with no, I have not.
If you want to jog your memory, there is a season 3 episode, just like of Memento, of Blue Mountain State, that parodies True Training Day completely, and I believe the episode is actually called Training Day.
And Michael, we found out that you have Peacock, and it is on Peacock.
Holy cow! You guys are trying to save me money. Look at that.
There you go.
And it's on Netflix. Holy smokes! I borrowed my brother's Netflix.
Don't say that on air.
Yeah, edit that out, Jacob.
What?
I watch it with my brother at his house using his Netflix account.
All right. So we will be back next time with Training Day. What do you say we go ahead and cut, print, check the gate?
See you guys.
See ya.